Our man had made his pickup as usual and was on his way down the escalator with the deposit on his way to the armored truck. And he was accosted by 3 men, and they took his money and his gun and handcuffed him to a rack and took off, and that's it.
Were the men masked in any way?
No.
Shortly after 2 o'clock, I delivered to the clerk of the grand jury 5 grand jury reports, one charging the offense of bribery against Frank Coffey, no bill, a second charging the offense of accepting a bribe against Doug Crouch, no bill, the third charging conspiracy to offer a bribe Doug Crouch and Frank Coffey, no bill. The third one, perjury, Doug Crouch, no bill. The fourth one, perjury, Frank Coffey, no bill.
It's be difficult to even imagine what effect it will have on everybody, but I think that probably people who aren't even think they're affected by air carrier operations will probably find out that lack of operation will have some effect on them there. We haven't been notified officially that there will be a strike or anything like that, or a walkout or demonstration. The airport itself, of course, will continue on, whether the airlines continue to operate schedules in here or not Monday.
Monday was usually...
The people that put this gas together, the ingredients in it, they know there's some terrible ingredients in there. Now we wish insurance for now and the future, like paid up insurance, like sick and accident. That wouldn't be bad. Sure, a paid up insurance on the future. All right, at the aged, maybe it's a shorter year. But for the youngsters, a longer year. Paid up, sick and accident, and death benefit. Really, because...
How many people are you talking about?
Oh, I dare say... now, you know, pollution didn't stop at that corner where they put the guardrail there.
No,
so
they go either.
Well, we don't know the far reach infected it, but I dare say the immediate area, you will find maybe 4,000 people.
I'm standing on a grassy mall just north of downtown Dallas, where final preparations are being made for the last day of EXPLO 72. Tomorrow, some 250,000 persons are expected to frequent this site to see such renowned performers as Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and Connie Smith, just to mention a few. Officials of EXPLO 72 says that literally every point on the map is represented here, including 70 foreign countries. They have come by every conceivable means of modern transportation: planes, trains, buses, cars. There are even those who ran from California and Denver to be here for EXPLO 72. Dallas, in this case, has lived up to its reputation of the all-American city. It has opened its heart, its homes, and its pocketbook. If you've been downtown in the past week, very likely you've been greeted by a youngster with the phrase, "Peace, brother, have you met Jesus?" However, there are those who would brand this as the Woodstock of Christianity. But this reporter subscribes to the adage that 250,000 Romans, in this case 250,000 Jesus people, can't be wrong. Gene McIntyre at the site of the Jesus Music Festival for Channel 8 News on the Move.
Yeah, it's funny because the first time I got to Yankee Stadium, I said to myself, I finally made the big leagues. Because here I am looking at these plaques out in monuments out in center field. And I faced Mickey Mantle in Yankee Stadium, and I struck him out in Yankee Stadium, and I said, I think I finally made the big leagues.
How do you feel about yourself in your major league career at this point?
Probably better than I ever have in the last 2 years. The last 2 years haven't been real good years for me. I've had experienced arm problems. I experienced problems of couldn't get anybody out for a while there. But Ted has been pitching me quite a bit in relief and now starting me. And the main thing I ask is that I be pitched. It seemed like with Cleveland, I would go 2 weeks without pitching at all, then get in a ball game and you don't quite know what you're doing because you haven't been out there in so long. It's like spring training all over again. But with Ted Williams, why I've been throwing a lot. Our whole staff has. And this is one of the main factors why I've had pretty good success this year.
Do you like to rest between assignments, or do you go out and throw every day?
Jerry, I threw for about 15 minutes today. I threw about 55, 60 pitches on the sidelines. And I'll go out and throw a little bit tomorrow and then take Friday off completely. And I think I should be ready for Saturday afternoon.
I don't think so, because they offered me a 2-year no-cut contract, and I'm pretty sure with the offer they've made me, I don't feel like they want to offer me that kind of money to play in the minors. So if it wouldn't have been in Chicago, I think it would have been somewhere else in the NHL, which made me very happy and very proud.
And Dallas was saying goodbye to J.P. LeBlanc anyway, whether you went to Los Angeles or signed your Chicago contract. How do you feel about leaving Dallas and the Hawks after being the man for so many years?
Well, it's going to be so different. Dallas has been so great to me, and I've enjoyed Dallas so much, and the Hawks and the people were so great. And it's going to be so different, but I'm looking forward to it. I feel like every human being needs to change once in a while in his lifetime, and it's been great. In 5 great years, I'm looking forward for the years in Los Angeles.
Out of 3.5 million babies born each year in the United States, about 88,000 do not survive, or about 25 out of every 1,000 births. In some areas, such as fast-growing metropolitan regions, the infant mortality rate is even higher. Although Fort Worth's infant mortality rate is gradually decreasing, the city's ratio is still above the national average. Dr. Pelham Staples, head of obstetrics at John Peter Smith Hospital, says the major problem to overcome to reduce mortality rate among infants is not medical.
This is, for want of a better term, a social problem. How do you educate people to eat properly? How do you educate people to wait until they are physically mature before becoming pregnant, until their home environment is stable, until they are emotionally secure? These are the big problems that contribute to our overall perinatal mortality.
The infant mortality rate is gradually decreasing in Fort Worth, and one reason for this is intensified care of premature babies at major hospitals in the city.
We place the baby that comes to us from the delivery room and that's in trouble or that is a premature baby in an isolette. This isolette provides an environment of warmth and humidity similar to the mama's womb. And if the baby's sick, we take immediate measures to help this baby in distress.
Although the medical profession receives the brunt of the blame for the death ratio among the newborn, the real problems, as we have heard the majority of doctors agree, are social, environmental, poverty and ignorance, and even political. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move at John Peter Smith Hospital in Fort Worth.
Got this thing over there too that may take a couple of days.
Yeah, yeah.
And I haven't been.
Seem a little sluggish to you?
Who?
The house doesn't seem quite up to snuff. Do you detect a little laxity in this special session?
I think the greatest vacuum that we have now in the country is Bible teaching, just straight Bible teaching in depth. And this is one of the fears that I have, and one of the dangers that I see ahead for this generation of young people who are being converted by the thousands to Christ. But they need to get into the Word. They need to get into the Scriptures. And it needs to be integrated into the church. And I think that this is a very wonderful thing, and I see great hope for the Bible school in connection with our churches to teach our people the Bible, as you say, in depth. There's just nowhere for them to go.
Well, first of all, many of these lame ducks are going to be state senators or other office holders. So, in a sense, they're not lame ducks in that they have no future political responsibilities. But even the ones who don't, these are responsible men who I don't think, just because they're lame ducks, they're not going to change their feathers and become any different than what they were before.
That sounds like you have a pretty good degree of confidence in the House.
Yes, I do. I think these are people that, men that the people of Texas have elected to send down here, and I think they're outstanding people as a whole. There, of course, some exceptions.
The thing that the board did not realize was that this was a presentation that we wanted to make to the district consultation team prior to the budget hearing today so that we could reach some sort of compromise agreement. This was our first presentation, and we were willing to make some compromises.
Seven cows in this herd on the Bill Tarver Ranch in South Dallas County are infected with the screwworm. If it's not stopped now, the whole herd could possibly die. The screwworm has been labeled a parasite, similar to a maggot that eats away at the live tissue of the animal. The spraying today of this herd in Kleberg was supervised by Orville Lindsey of the State Animal Health Commission. Lindsey said only these 7 cases have been reported in Dallas County so far, but surrounding counties have reported several other cases. He added there was no way to tell how many cases there are or could be because the insect multiplies so fast.
It takes 8 days for the larva to hatch back to a fly after they're dropped from the cow. And then they spread. Within 2 weeks, there could be a lot of them if they wasn't controlled.
The spraying of these cattle today was the second step in a 4-step operation to save the herd of Bill Tarver. The first step was identification. The second step, spraying. The third step will take place tomorrow when an airplane flies over this area, releasing some 500,000 sterile blowflies. The fourth step is continuous inspection by Bill Tarver to see whether or not any of these cattle still have the screwworms. 126 head here belong to Bill Tarver. It may not be much to a lot of people, But to Bill Tarver, it's all he's got, and if he lost this herd, he said it would ruin him for the rest of his life. Jerry Park, Channel 8 News on the move, on the ranch of Bill Tarver in Kleberg.